Hello to the curious minds of the world, wherever you may be. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Some of you I may be familiar with, some I may not, so I'll introduce myself. I am NYC, a New York City-based dominatrix. Over the last 5 years, I've traveled across the United States of America, positively impacting the lives of those I've encountered. I am a master of the psychology of human sex. I dissect the way American society breeds kinks and fetishes, as well as the safe way to explore said fetishes. Today, I'll be sharing with you my take on just a couple of the most popular questions I've gotten. The first being the classic, how did you get into this? The answer to that would be, I was born into this. If this is referring to my natural dominance, I was born a sexually dominant woman. I've always organically been this way. Is that not as exciting as you had hoped? It seems as if I'm expected to recount some sort of traumatic event that made me hate all men or something. Fortunately, that couldn't be further from the truth. Although, not everyone has been as accepting of my natural being as I have come to be. I face the discrimination of America's patriarchal society. I simply don't fit what their idea of a real woman is supposed to be. Pity them. Overcoming that, though, created even more of a passion inside of me to support others as they obliterate gender roles in an erotic sense. I create safe spaces where people can simply and safely explore eroticism, free of the rigid restrictions that society attempts to confine us in. Now, getting into how I began to explore such sacred spaces. Thinking back, I first practiced BDSM in my personal life. Thinking back on humble beginnings with my very first boyfriends. I asked him to spit in his mouth, and he obliged, much to my delight. I remember the electric charge that shot through my body as I spit down into his mouth. It was intoxicating. I had never experienced anything like it before, although it abruptly ceased upon his return of the favor. I was totally turned off and realized that I needed to establish our relationship in a way that was satisfying for us both. We couldn't reach a mutual agreement, so I moved on, having discovered who I am and that what I need can only be delivered by a true submissive. I employed myself to learn all of the many things a dom needs to know to be a safe and effective practitioner. Once playtime came again, I was overwhelmed by the number of play options I had. The only logical solution to take was to rank them by status of devotion. Those who best demonstrate their allegiance and appreciation for me are the only ones chosen to play. Those who are unable to contribute are able to worship from a distance. I recognize what I do as therapeutic and enlivening. It is truly a blessing to have someone usher you through what would have been some dark and scary times without them. It warms my heart to witness the blossoming of an adult boy into his true self. What he once felt shame about, he now accepts as a direct result of my coaching and education throughout our escapades. Acceptance allows one to freely navigate their desires, fears, and all things suppressed or regressed without being lampooned. My treatment plans have rescued men from porn addiction, depression, anxiety surrounding intimate encounters, as well as restored a lust for life and intimacy in those men, along with a positive attitude towards sex, relationships, and their own unique kink identity. The effect of having a session with me runs deeper than mere sexual gratification or adrenaline rush from all of the excitements. Impact play and corporal punishment can certainly be included in a session, so long as it's desired by me, of course, and as long as it's within my sub's boundaries. The physical sensations inflicted are what we see on the surface. We don't exactly see that the vulnerability of the sub builds mental as well as emotional strength. We don't often consider the increased progress made following the correction, or the much needed added balance to the sub's life as a result of the punishment. These are things that often go unnoticed, but are very important. I've used kinky coaching as a means to keep a sub committed to a healthy lifestyle and lose weight. Of course, I've also used punishment as a means to satisfy my own sexual urges. But these circumstances have been discussed, understood, and agreed upon by all participating parties. Informed consent is pivotal in maintaining ethics while practicing BDSM. The power play that we engage in together is an exchange of energy, intimacy, filled with sacrifice and strategic boundaries within which we can play freely. It's a beautiful and divine exchange, an art form that two or more come to create and enjoy together, never to be forgotten or taken for granted on my watch. This question. Yes, there is. Although I answer this subjective question subjectively. Sex to me is intimacy, which is exactly what happens in my sessions. There is an exchange of energy. I curate sessions that first satisfy my own desires, and secondly, titillate theirs just enough to keep them yearning for more and working to earn it, more importantly. I hope this was enlightening. Thank you for your attention. Maybe we'll meet someday. Until then, reach out to me if you have any questions or need clarification on anything that I've touched on today. Class dismissed.